Why is it that the book of Daniel, a Jewish book, refers to Daniel's comrades by their Persian names most their Persian name almost exclusively in the first three chapters, but Daniel is only referred to by his Persian name once, only a handful of times throughout the book of Daniel.
Okay, so this is an interesting question because it actually is a question came up within your small group talking about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which is the Persian names for what I can't say because I can't remember it correctly now. I know it's Hannah and something else.
Yes.
And I apologize for those of you who are like, no, it needs to be this. All right, so here's what's happening. First off, we're just not really sure why this is the case. We only see Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the first three chapters.
Right.
And
we don't see him for an abbreviated amount of time.
Super brief. In Daniel, he is the thrust of the book, but at the same time, you do see different characters using his Persian name, Balthazar, multiple times throughout the book. So, and this isn't like a recent construct. Like if you go back into older versions of the Tanakh, you will see that this is what's being used.
Right.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Which is interesting because this is the Tanakh, the Old Testament, it's a Jewish book. So why would they be using slave names for these people? One suggestion is this. The presentation of the story of Daniel, the account of Daniel's friends, comes from a Babylonian source that was originally written in Aramaic. And all the copies that we have of the book of Daniel, and this is really interesting studying into this, chapter 1 and then chapter 8 through 12 are written in Hebrew.
Yep.
But chapter 2 through 7 are written in Babylonian Aramaic.
Yeah.
And first off, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's weird. That's if you haven't studied ancient Hebrew writing, that's very outside of the box.
The fact that, again, we don't have, as far as I can find, there is no Hebrew translation all the way through of it. And the use of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego is preserved even into the Septuagint, which is the Greek version of the Old Testament, which
the Hebrew Bible.
Jewish rabbis worked on. So that's one of the things that's there. And the likely is because they come from Babylonian names, they were using the common names known at the time.
Yeah.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were just known as that, and because of the Babylonian source, that's what they had. Whereas where you see Daniel referred to in other places, Daniel was a well-respected individual who was celebrated. And so they're like, okay, well, that's Daniel. At the same time, in the later things, in the later chapter where you see him referred to as Balthazar, it's always like, so-and-so said to Daniel, who's also known as Balthazar. Yeah. Those were in the Hebraic writings, suggesting that this Hebrew writer going, hey, want to make sure you guys understand we're talking about Balthazar.
We're talking about this official here when it comes to this is who the Persians would know him as.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of we don't have a flat black and white answer for that. Right. But when you study it out, this is what we are seeing.
It's kind of how the liturgy was put together.
Yeah.
And for the record, those names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
My dude.